Am I the a-hole for being embarrassed with my cheapskate boyfriend? We've been dating for about 4 months and mostly it's been good. He's cute, smart, and very successful. The only downside is that he's almost addicted to buying things that are on sale or have coupons despite being a VP at his company. I'm not talking about sometimes or even most of the time. I would be alright with that. He never buys anything at full price. Never. He plans his cooking around what's on sale that week at the grocery stores. All of his clothes were bought on sale or clearance, even his socks and boxers. Last week we were at my friend's house for dinner and she commented on his shirt. He proudly said he got it on clearance last year for $20. I was mortified. Lastly, we don't go to any restaurant unless he finds a coupon or they're running some kind of special. Things came to a head last night when we went out to dinner. He had a digital coupon for buy one get one free. For some reason, the restaurant's computer didn't recognize the deal and the poor cashier couldn't make it work. We were holding up the crowded line because he refused to pay for both dinners. Finally the cashier called the manager but he was busy somewhere else in the restaurant. While we waited, the people behind us were getting annoyed. I was so embarrassed I left him standing in line by himself and went to the car. We argued the entire drive home. We were supposed to go to the movies, because he got free tickets, but I wasn't in the mood so he dropped me off. We haven't texted today at all. When I talked to my friends at brunch, they didn't see a problem with it and I found it frustrating that they didn't understand how embarrassing it is. Am I the a-hole? Family upset I won't invite homophobic cousin to my wedding. I, 26F, am engaged to my fiancée, 26F, and we are getting married next year. I received a text from my mom this morning stating my family, 3 of them, is upset that I am not inviting my cousin, 24F, who is extremely homophobic. We used to very close, but one day 4 years ago came to me with a Bible and told me I was an abomination for doing what I was doing, being a lesbian. I told her if that's how she felt then she would no longer be a part of my life. We stopped talking and really seeing each other completely since she lives in a different state. I don't follow her on any socials. I've taken the easy path for my family during holidays and have been civil despite how she made me feel. However, I feel like it's my wedding day and I have the choice to choose who I want there. Why would I pay for someone to be there who doesn't support me? Some of my family members are now saying they won't come if she isn't invited. Part of me literally does not care. My heart is telling me if they support me they'll be there. My mom is still saying I should take the easy path and not cause waves. However, she's also a ball of anxiety so she'd rather there not be any confrontation. I know the entire family is probably texting about it in a group chat. Edited to add, I forgot to mention this in the post and have seen a lot of comments. Sorry I can't respond to them all as I'm at work. My family does know the things my cousin has said and done. They knew that from the day it happened 4 years ago. Am I the a-hole for assuming our kids will take my last name? My, 29F, husband, 29M, and I are pregnant. We're happy about it but it's all happened so fast so we didn't discuss details before. Today while we were fantasizing about our future, I kind of wistfully said the full name of our baby, gender-neutral first name we chose and my last name. He was upset and asked why I assumed they would take my name. I said it was BC. I thought he didn't care about his last name whereas my last name is very important to me. Context: I never changed my last name when we got married because in my culture this is uncommon and my name also has very heavy cultural and historical significance. I am extremely proud of it and I am also very close with my extended family. My husband has no relationship with his family, as his parents abandoned him to his uncle who abused him for years until he moved in with me. When we were getting married he wanted to change his last name to mine BC. He feels like my family is his real family, which I was okay with but eventually we decided he doesn't need to go through that hassle since he's a part of our family regardless. He's never expressed any type of interest in his heritage, Irish, and even when I suggested we go visit Ireland he was uninterested. But now, he said people will think the kid is not his, and that it's disrespectful to have kids not take the father's last name. I was confused because he has never expressed any such sentiment before. I told him my last name is non-negotiable, so we can hyphenate it. He was resistant since both our last names are clunky and long, but eventually he said only if his name comes first. I got really annoyed at his implication that there's something wrong with taking the mom's last name, so maybe I was a little petty and said suits me, that way people will think your name is just a middle name and mine is their last name. He told me I was being an asshole and left the house. It's been a couple of hours and he's responding to my texts with one-word responses. Am I the a-hole for leaving my wife at a party/going away solo when she was making me late? My, 28, wife, 27, graduated medical school in 2021. They had a graduation party since everyone was vaccinated, but it was pretty small due to a recent outbreak there. You could only bring one guest and you had to socially distance again. Her medical school decided to invite the pandemic graduates to this year's graduation event. They planned this all out pretty last minute, only giving 3 weeks notice that it was happening. But my wife was very excited about it. She gets paid crumbs and works long hours as a resident, so I get why she wanted to relax and have fun. The issue is that I had a huge work trip the next day, that had been planned for months. I don't travel a lot for work, so they went all out to make this comfortable, and I had a lot riding on it. If I didn't do well I would probably be fired, but if I did well there were 2 open positions I could be promoted to. My wife wanted to come with me, so my company comped her flight and we were going to make a vacation out of it after my presentations. We were flying out the night of the party to ensure I made it on time for the meetings the next day. I told my wife we shouldn't go to the redo event since we had to fly out and it would be very tight. She insisted we go, since the party started at 3 p.m. and our flight left at 9 p.m. but the gale was 1.5 hours away from the airport. We made a plan to leave at 5:30 p.m., pack everything in our car beforehand, so we could go straight to the airport. But by 5:30 she just started saying goodbye. I told her we needed to leave ASAP but she said no, we don't have to be 2 hours early for our flight, etc. Around 6 p.m. this guy from med school, who had a crush and asked her out multiple times, grabbed her hand and pulled her to another table. I went up to them and told him he needed to back off. He said I needed to treat her better and let her enjoy herself. I looked at my wife, but she ignored me. At that point I decided I wasn't going to try and convince her to stick to her word anymore. I told her I was leaving for the airport and took our car. There was a ton of traffic and security was a mess, so I only had a few minutes to spare before getting on the plane. She texted me horrible things. I never responded/engaged. But she kept texting me how I was horrible and don't understand what it's like to have COVID ruin a huge moment for you. I disagree, she still had a graduation party, it's not my fault she didn't get to dance. I don't see what the huge deal was and conversely think she didn't understand that this would cost me my job if I missed the flight. And since I make up around 70% of our income in a whole area, we would essentially be homeless. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife off after getting our daughter to cut her hair off, even after being told not to? My wife is currently battling cancer, and one of the things she's told me she's struggling with the most was losing her hair. She's been given a near 100% chance of survival since we caught it early, but the chemotherapy has destroyed her hair anyway, and she had to shave what was left of it off a few weeks ago. Not long after that, she suggested we attempt to get our 17-year-old daughter, Anna, to do so as well. Anna has very long hair that she puts a lot of care into, so I felt it was appropriate to ask her in private if she wanted to / would be willing to do such a thing. She told me that she didn't want to cut her hair and I figured that was the end of that. However, yesterday they came home from a girls' shopping trip, something they do every so often, and Anna had a buzzed haircut. That struck me as odd after what she'd said, so after dinner I talked to her and she told me that my wife had said she would never forgive Anna if she didn't show her support by buzzing her head. I asked her if she was happy about it and she said that she wasn't. When I went to bed, I brought it up with my wife and she said it was Anna's choice to or not. I just told her how I'd see the situation. I told her off, saying she needed to respect Anna's personal choices and that a 17-year-old girl being against shaving her head wasn't exactly out of the ordinary. However, my wife simply said it was to show support for her. I've been sleeping on the couch since. I love my wife, and I understand that she's going through something traumatic, however her attitude comes off as very manipulative to me, and that's not behavior I feel I can personally accept. I'm not sure if I can move past this to continue the relationship.